Hello everybody, my name is Troublmaker, and this is Wargame AirLand Battle Tactics and Strategies. This week we'll be looking at a little bit of bonus content, some helicopters, how to use them, what they're used for, and the limits of their abilities and whatnot. Before I go into actual gameplay, demonstrations, we'll look at various types of helicopters and what they're used for, so we can figure that part out. This is a Cobra. Note the Hydra rockets. They have very, very long range. And also note the cost, 45 points. So this is going to be a very low strength unarmored vehicle that will die relatively easy, but will do a lot of damage. This can be compared to something like this, the Canadian CH-135, which is 20 points and only has a minigun on it, which will only realistically be used for picking off infantry. However, at 20 points deployment, it only has to kill one of anything at all, even a supply truck, to pay itself off. So that's an interesting thing about this particular vehicle, whereas this one you'd have to kill 2 supply trucks. You go into far more expensive ones. Here's a 140 point. It's got anti-tank and anti-air rockets on it. It has a relatively high strength. Where's our big one? Here we go. The AH-64 Apache. I think this is the best helicopter in the game by far. And note it has an 8 strength, which means that it'll take a lot of damage. It's got the Hellfire rocket. It's got the Hydra rocket, so it's going to do a lot of damage as well. And it's 155 points. So a vehicle like this, that's 20 points, you really don't care if you lose it, as long as it kills one of anything. It's an all-inner. Whereas this one has a more strategical purpose, and it has to live and survive, and if it dies, that becomes very problematic. So I just thought I'd start off with this before we get into some demonstrations of various purposes of stuff. So the first use we're going to go for is harassment. And note that I'm using 4 45-point vehicles. I have them all split up. None of them are grouped together. And I'm bringing them along the outskirts of this map so that they're not spotted. This is very sneaky, and sneakiness is most definitely rewarded. Okay, we're in position, and we're over the supply reinforcement point. We're going to wipe out some vehicles. Now, note, these are 45 points. I'm playing against 2 very, very good players. And basically, I only have to kill about 180 points worth of stuff for this to be worthwhile. I believe I get like 100, which isn't so hot, mostly because I'm mis-microing here. Now, one thing you want to do with your helicopters is split them up. Anti-aircraft vehicles do area of effect damage, which means that the closer they are together, the faster they will die. And that's a big part of why I don't do as much damage here as I could. But as you can see, in the current meta, people are not placing any kind of anti-aircraft around their reinforcement points because they're too worried about the anti-aircraft in the front to deal with the airplane. So this becomes a very, very effective early game harassment technique that you can deploy other times at different points in the game. Now, nope, I lost all my aircraft to 1 rocket. I could have got easy 200 points from this if I had split up my helicopters, but they do have to be split up. And just to show it, they deal effect damage. Watch 2 stacked helicopters die simultaneously just as soon as that next rocket winds up. Winds up. Here we go. So yeah, they're not throwing aircraft at this. They're not, because they've already deployed that. And there's a great timing here for harassment where they've already used their aircraft, so they're not available. And you can also do a moderate amount of damage. The cheaper the vehicle, generally speaking, the better it'll do. Those are relatively expensive helicopters. Another great use of aircraft is going to be picking off any kind of loose infantry, vehicles, tanks, anything like that that's sitting in the open. I actually have to smoke this area because it's such a big loss to lose this anti-tank weapon in this particular position because this helicopter is being so scary. And note that helicopter just didn't die to an anti-aircraft vehicle. Isn't that interesting? You can also do the same thing with multiple aircraft. They're really good at picking off tanks. They do a lot of stun damage, allow for things to get in, and they just make really great skirmishers. And anti-aircraft vehicles have a different range for helicopters and airplanes, so the risk of losing them is much, 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 much smaller. Really ends the video on helicopters. They have a very limited range of what they can and cannot do. And a lot of the problems people have with them is because helicopters were the end-all unit of Wargame European Escalation. In this one, They're relatively tanky. They can take quite a few hits when you have the more expensive ones. They're very great skirmishers. And as I close out this video, enjoy me losing 5 jet fighters without killing a single Apache. Thanks for watching.